This guide mostly focuses on team deathmatch. The game revolves around healing beam, and because of that we have 3 positions: frontline, backline and switch. Switch is basically anything in between of 2 positions, or a state between switching from one of them to the other. The only prerequisite to this video is to know how to cast spells and wards. There are a few good guides that already touch on that, so I will link them in description. So when being frontline, you need to understand the biggest damage threats. Rocks are pretty much the biggest damage threat, then mines, then storms. Also being instantly frozen can result in you getting instantly killed too, so you also avoid that at all cost. Another big damage threat is lightning, especially when you are grouped up together. It's very important to use storms to avoid it. Another really important tool is shield. It prevents death beams, water pushes, and people spraying you while still moving. And it prevents people from moving when spraying you, which helps you to defend your position. The next important part is to not stay in place and keep moving to your ally that is beaming you. Staying in place sometimes is necessary when you are close to death or in different moments when your ally cannot heal you. But for the most part, you should be moving to your allies instead and preventing the beam from being cut off. And that also touches on the point of being easy target to heal. The biggest mistake that people do is staying inside of the shield or pushing into the shield that prevents you from being healed by your allies. Knowing when to cycle between beam and healing rocks. This is mostly for the situations when your allies stay inside of the shield. And keep moving with your front line to stay in safe position. So you are not supposed to be too close or too far from your front line. That allows you to heal, but it's very situational. In some situations you need to get close to keep healing them, when in others you need to stay back because you are getting attacked or getting low life. Switch for beginners is even smaller because it's more advanced thing to be doing. The only thing that you should be trying to do, being able to decisively change position. What I mean by that is being able to really quick get into position, so you change position with your ally so that most enemies won't be able to have access to attack him. When you are being at front, you need to block beams from your enemy, because that is more important than any damage you can deal to them, unless it's last bit of damage that kills them. In many situations when they are at that point, they are already in such dangerously low HP. If you are in a position to block beams at that moment, it's better to block the beam because it pretty much guarantees the kill, instead of hoping that the last bit of damage you're gonna deal is gonna kill them. This part is the most important aspect of offensive frontlining. Without it, your enemies are just gonna get healed to full very fast, and you won't be able to kill them. You can block beams in many ways. Block it with heal beam, death beam, shield, that includes directional shield and self-cast shield. You can also block it with your body and healing wall. Important note on that is that you are not always required to get in between to be blocking beam. And while you are able to move in between 2 enemies while blocking the beam with your beam and moving forward, you can also just stay in position. That way you are taking almost no risk while having high chance of securing a kill. But this also won't interrupt any healing other than beams. In those moments you want to create as much space as possible for your allies, for enemy to get attacked by at least 2 people so they can out DPS the healing coming their way. Using the efficient combos to be able to deal the most damage / freeze enemies. That is something that people get to know more from dueling, but the big pointers are trying to use a lot of storms. SFS is pretty much always good. Self-cast damage is almost always good if you are not standing in any storm and you are not losing ground because of it. So when you are frontline, it's preferred for you to always have some distance to your backline to not be damaged from the same casts. So you try to prevent being pushed into the wall. Water push that also has high probability of exposing a second person in frontline to being collapsed and have no way of healing him. What helps you to hold your ground, double rock ward to not get pushed by walls and knocked up by mines, and also shield to prevent your enemy from water pushing you. One quick tip on holding your ground is if you need to be in different position, change from rock ward and then change it back real quick. It makes it so you are not slowed by rock ward and you are getting to a place that you need to hold much faster. Covering your backline. You need to be aware when your backline is being attacked. Try being in between and walling when they are being attacked, so the projectiles won't get to your backline, because the projectiles are the only thing that can reach them if you are in between enemy and your ally. Pay attention to your frontline. Many people in frontline only focus on damaging the enemy frontline, but there are many situations when your frontline needs help, and just by pushing one enemy and putting mines on them, you can easily save them from dying. On the offensive, don't block your backline. You want to move so your backline, whatever range they are, can attack enemy with you. So mostly that means going to a side when you have space to do it. So it's about mostly being in position so your ally can spray your enemy without spraying you. You want to position yourself so you can use your ally as a body that blocks enemy attacks, and do opposite of that when you want to attack yourself, when your ally is healthy and safe to attack. Pay attention and track your allies so you can heal them when they need it. That also includes paying attention to minimap to know if you are missing somebody and somebody will need help, and heal them to save them in most chaotic situations when everybody is scrambled. You also want to clear the statuses of your teammates. Sometimes it means just throwing a fire rock, and sometimes it means keeping the fire beam on them because everybody is trying to freeze or wet them at the moment. Offensively, when your frontline is under no threat and they are high HP, you want to focus yourself on chipping damage on backline, because if backline is defending themselves from attacks, they cannot heal the frontline. Obviously do that when you are not needed to finish the kill on low life enemy frontline. So for switch, about getting rid of the threats that are trying to push your frontline and doing it effectively. That includes wall pushing and water pushing enemies that are coming in front before they even cut off the healing from you to your allies. Some of the situations, sometimes it can get very hard and you need to be able to override storms or mines that your teammate is standing at with your own mines. That point is also similar to helping your frontline when you are being a frontline. It's kind of like trying to spam, keep wall pushing or water pushing your enemy to get rid of them, like annoying fly. Creating space. Creating space has many uses. Sometimes it can be offensively, sometimes defensively. Think of it as being like a sand. Wherever you position is gonna slow down your enemies from attacking your backline. If your backline is low, you want to move yourself as forward as possible in between ally and enemy. And then if your enemy keeps wanting to move through you, you can keep moving with him, still being like a sand, trying to slow him down and prevent your ally from being attacked. The farther you are from backline, the more space enemy needs to move while being close range against you. That is making it very dangerous for him to ignore you. If you were very close to your backline, not only does it mean that you both will get damage from the same attacks, but also makes you unable to heal yourself the most efficiently. Creating space offensively means allowing your allies to damage enemies and also be in position to cut off all the possible healing that they will get from allies. If you're spread out, there is no way for enemies to heal each other effectively without getting close to each other, which can be used to your advantage with stuff like mines or lightning. With time you will be able to know when people are pushing you and when they have advantage over you, and when it's good for them to push you. So you will need to preemptively move back and react to them pushing even when they didn't do that yet. That means not allowing you to get water pushed by enemy moving to the side or behind you and water pushing you, or get in front of your healing. Something that comes with experience with being frontline and backline is knowing when your allies will get damaged before it even happens. And as a backliner, it's very good to know those situations to heal your allies before they get damaged. That includes awareness of everybody's position and who's at the most risky position. One note on that is that the position that is the most threatening is usually also the most risky for your teammate to be attacked. So if your ally is pushing in between two people, you want to heal that ally to keep them high health, to keep being a threat to the enemy and possibly finishing off the kill. Your frontline won't be taking much damage when enemy is on the defense. This is the moment for backline to be offensive, while healing your frontline in the most critical situations. If they keep attacking your frontline, healing your ally, as long as they defend you from attacks, is the optimal thing to do. It should be frontline that should be focusing on opening space and attacking backline, while backline is there to support them getting rid of the frontline and keeping them healthy while they can. Also at that level, it changes how you view healing. It becomes a tool for you to allow your allies do more damage. You start recognizing situations when they would get damaged and heal them preemptively. Keep in mind, when multiple people attack one person that you heal, as long as you keep beaming them, they will always be on top of that exchange. Another thing is paying attention to your teammates. If you are out of combat, keep looking at the minima for health status of everybody and their positions. This will tell you if you need to charge full rock or healing rock instead. But it can be hard, especially in more chaotic situations. You are basically supposed to fight while keep looking at other enemies and allies to know your next move. It is important because reacting half a second faster to heal beam your ally will decide if they will live or die, which can mean that even if you are in an advantageous position against enemy in front of you, you should try to keep distance from him to heal your ally. And if you keep him alive, you can kill your enemy together faster, because it is much easier to close out the kill 2v1. There are two ways to do it effectively. One is doing it during actions that take a long time, like water pushing somebody, using self-cast heal for some time, or even during lighting. Second is while you're experienced enough to have mental cue of your actions you're gonna do, and you can do them without even looking at what you are doing. One of the most common things to do against people mid to long range is using shield and then storm. That way you are preventing the most threatening damage dealers. Both of those ways are impossible to do while in close range, because there is way too huge variance of what opponent can do close range you need to pay attention to. That is with exception of water push, because it makes enemy unable to do anything until you stop. So you want to keep distance if you have access to healing your ally, but if you don't, if your enemy is blocking or is close to blocking your access to your allies, you need to go close range and do combination of water pushes and wall pushes to push him to any other side that your ally is. You do the same to prevent enemy blocking your ally before it even happens. If moving forward and trying to water push and wall push won't work, and if your ally is not critically low, just doing self-cast like SFS can make your enemy unable to be aggressive anymore, because he doesn't have enough health to do so. When enemy is using water ward and you are not in range to wall push him, use things like rocks or a fire cold spray instead. Fire spray is more of a safe bet because it's mostly guaranteed to do good chunk of damage. If you are really far away, sometimes it's best to just run to your ally, so you get faster to the point of being able to help your ally, and before you get into close range, there is very low chance that you will be even attacked, because your ally is the one being focused. If they are already in position behind them and are putting damaging walls to block you off, use mines or storms to override them and not slow you down. Being able to create space to recover to high health. It's about trying to buy as much time as possible. That means water pushing, using cold spray, rocks. The thing about it is, when the enemy is forced to switch wards and being on defensive, they cannot push, especially with rock ward. So you can force them to defend even if they are running to you to prevent you from being healed. The hard part about Switch is to be very decisive when you are supposed to be offensive and defensive. If you are not decisive, there will be a big time frame when you and your ally both will be getting damage from the same attacks, like AoE from projectiles or lightning. When you have two switches, you can see how effective they are in 2v2s. It's like a constant dance, because the positioning that is the most threatening is also the one that risks getting pushed. But if both people react well to somebody pushing, then it's the strongest position to ever be in. Move away and know your angles and distance perfectly to not damage your ally. Be careful to not go behind your enemy when your allies already do that for you. You can always use water push to change your allies' position quickly, like water pushing them to safety. There are moments when doing stuff other than self-healing can be risky. Wait it out and look for a better moment instead. This game is all about surrounding your enemy. When enemy is getting attacked from all sides at the same time, there is no way for him to defend. Self-cast water is great at resetting battles. Sometimes you can just walk in to create enough pressure, but it only works when enemy knows that you know how to defend yourself. Mines allow you to quickly recover and go back to offense in no time. Try to not repeat the same actions, that way enemy wards won't be effective against you. If you want to stay aggressive with low health or bad position, always put mines on you first to effectively heal yourself at the same time. Use enemy head to quickly recover from statuses. You can recover your HP really quick when you are not being attacked with turtle, but doing self-cast heal instead of blowing it up to maximize heal received. It's very good to spray multiple targets at the same time. You don't always need to follow up your storms. Stop trying knockdown enemy every time they come close. They are ready for it, and often it doesn't even benefit you, even if you would get it. It is often a waste of time to be changing wards for storms, especially if you are already moving out of it. Always look for better position you could be in. In this scenario, my ally could go down and still keep being a threat to enemy and be in independent position. Sometimes it could be very beneficial for you to switch wards if you no longer need them. Guys, please don't ignore lighting. Is it too much to